Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about 3 reasons why you should consider trying out for Moot Court and 2 tips on what you should do to prepare for your tryouts. So before I get started, I just want to say that the reason why I think it's so important for students of color to apply and try out for Moot Court is because oftentimes students themselves deny themselves the opportunity to participate. And that's often because there is fear in public speaking, fear that you're going to fail, fear that you don't know what you're doing and that you're not qualified. And so a lot of students just don't do it because of that reason. But there's also another underlying reason, and that's often because schools might have an unspoken rule about what participants look like. And so you might be a new student who maybe you think you're interested in doing trial advocacy, but then you see who makes those teams and you see you don't look like them, and so you might decide to not even try out. You might think, oh, that's not for me, and so you don't do it at all. That's not a thing. I'll give an experience. When I was in law school, there's a really elite trial advocacy program, and if you were a student and you came in and you looked at the people who were in the team at that point in time when I was a student, and when you looked at the people who used to be on the team from years past, you noticed a really similar trend, and that was that they all looked a certain way. And so you might think, well, I want to be a trial attorney, but this group of people who are very well known, very renowned, very skilled, are only choosing people that look a certain way, and so why should I even bother to put in the time and the effort to apply and to try out when I'm not going to make the cut because of... It can be really disheartening for students if you think, well, no, trial attorneys only look one way, so why am I even going to bother? You're not even going to try. I totally get that, but you need to overcome that, because you need to be able, when you do your tryouts, to show your school that you need to be the person they consider, even though you don't look the right way, or the certain way that they're looking for. And I just want to then clarify about that. When the person, so for a long time, everyone in that trial program looked a certain way, and then the regime changed and a new person took over, and this person was committed to diversity for some reason, and all of a sudden, the participants didn't all look the same. There was more diversity within the team, and the team still kept winning. The team still kept its really stellar reputation. They were still churning out really good litigator students, but they all didn't look alike. So that's interesting. So anyway, 3 reasons why you should try out for Moot Court. The first one is connections. The connections you make when you are part of a team are really, really important. And if you're a student of color, if you're a woman of color especially, when you come from a family who doesn't have attorneys, who doesn't have professionals, a lot of professionals in their background, these connections are really important, because they're not just those kind of flimsy, I'll say flimsy connections that you get with like a professor, even maybe when you TA. These are connections you're making with current practicing attorneys who are doing the work you want to do, who see you grow from day one to the final competition. You're making connections with judges who are also participants, with alumni who are participants, and for people, attorneys and other students from other schools who see you compete. Those are really important connections that you should not deny yourself just because you're a little bit scared, okay? So those connections are important. The second thing you want to consider is the experience you're going to get. Nobody graduates law school ready to practice on day one. Surprise. It takes a lot of experience and skill to really learn how to master a courtroom. That's just the way it is. But the more experience you get as a law student, the better it is for you, obviously. So if you're able to get trial teams or trial competitions under your belt, you can show future employers that you have had some experience thinking on your feet, have had some experience working in adversarial situations, that you're able to write good briefs, that you know what it's like to meet deadlines, etc., etc. That experience can really help you grow as a professional and make you a successful candidate when it comes to job applications. So that's something to really strongly consider when you decide, am I going to try out for this or not? Because it's not just, giving you a little bit of a taste of what it is to be a litigator. It's actually helping you hone skills that you can then use in other areas once you're practicing as an attorney. So that's really important. And then the third reason is camaraderie. Now, if you're in law school, you probably have a group of friends who you have gravitated towards. Oftentimes, a group of friends might have similar backgrounds, similar experiences, and that's why you feel that strong bond with people. And I really encourage that, obviously. But there's something to be said about making friends with people who you would never really consider a friendship with. And that often happens when that person becomes your teammate. Maybe you're a teammate with someone who's going to be in a completely different practice area than you, who is maybe even going to go to a different state, who you would never have considered someone a friend, but because you're working in the trenches together, you form a bond and a friendship. And you think, okay, so what? Once you graduate, that's it. But it's not really, because the legal community is really small, and those connections stay forever, especially in this day and age. So you never know how those networks and support systems are going to work out for you in the future. Perhaps in the future, that partner of yours is going to remember you and give you a job lead. Or maybe you'll have a mentee who wants to do the same type of practice work as your old teammate, and you can build that connection yourself with them. That's something that you can also do. So you just never know how it's going to work out, and building these connections with people who are different from you is really, really beneficial for your own practice and for your own type of support system that you're building for yourself and with others. So you just don't want to block that from yourself just because you feel you don't fit the mold, or because you're scared to do it. Don't be scared. You should go for it. So the 2 tips I have for tryouts is, the first one, if you have a mentor or if you know an attorney, even one attorney, reach out to them and say, hey, I'm thinking of trying out for Moot Court. I'm thinking of trying out for this child team. Can you help me? Give me some tips and practice points. Will you listen to my oral argument? Will you read my brief? Can you help me with what a cross-examination is? Because I have no idea. And most attorneys are going to be really excited to help you do that. So you should use those types of mentors in that situation. And a lot of people don't think to use those connections that way, especially when you're a 1L or a 2L, especially when you're a 1L, because you think maybe mentors are just there to take you out for coffee and tell you what it's like to practice, but they're actually willing to help you do some hands-on work to help you get to the next step. Most mentors will not be put off by that, so you should consider that. And if they're not able, or because they're busy, they'll likely send you to someone else who'll be happy to help you. So just use that connection if you have it. And then the second thing that I recommend that you do is that you go and look to see what trial advocacy books your school uses. What are the 2Ls and the 3Ls reading in their classes for the actual trial advocacy classes? And go purchase that book, or go borrow it if you can, and review what it is, and review the system and review it, because that's really going to help you understand what it is that they're looking for. So in my experience, we had a specific book that the school used when it came to trial advocacy preparations. And I know of a student who actually went and purchased the book, and she read how to do a direct examination. So she was using the tools that the program director used in his way, in the way that he judged the students, right? And so she knocked it out of the park, because she was able to present a direct examination just like he would have if he was teaching her how to do it. Right? So that's a really smart thing to do. I would never have thought of that, because I didn't even know at that time that there was textbooks for trial advocacy, okay? I was so in the dark when I was in law school. So now that you know that you should go look at that, you should go do it. And then go talk to an attorney to help you prepare, and then you will do awesome at your tryouts. So let me know how it goes below. For those of you who've made teams, give us some tips and tricks as to how you should make it when you do your rounds. And if you have any other questions about law school or practicing, let me know below. Or even better, subscribe to latinasuprising.com so that we can stay connected. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you share to other students who might be interested in trying out. And I will see you in the next video.